folks. I'm Travis Marshall. I live here in Carroll County. Been farming, growing pumpkins for 22, 23 years now. We're kind of getting started picking our crop and looking at what we got and discussing the challenges we've had for the year and the blessings we've had. As you see behind me, the different heirlooms we've been picking and talking about our yield. Our yield being off about a third of what it should be over everything that we've picked so far, counting the orange pumpkins and our heirlooms. We've picked about 400 or 500 bins thus far, and the market seems to be solid as far as selling them so far, and we're thankful for that. We grow about 30 different varieties, approximately, primarily heirlooms. Seems like there's a lot more orange pumpkins growed around in the mountains here than there is heirlooms. It's a niche market for us, and it seems like when the market fills up with orange pumpkins, we can continue to pick some variety. There's always somebody wanting red ones or green ones, pink ones, white ones, flat ones, round ones, or even little bitty ones. And it also gives us a variety where we can pick stuff for the morning when it's wet and save our whites for the evenings when it dries. It works out to give us a whole day's work on that as well. We've tried most every variety there is out there, and we've narrowed it down from year to year and culled a few from time to time, and pretty settled on where we are now and what yields good, what sells good. It seems like the ugly they are, or the more gnarly they are, the better they sell, but also have more challenges in growing. We're out here in the field harvesting pumpkins right now. We're harvesting white pumpkins, and it's been a challenge this whole year due to the weather, mostly just rain. It delayed us planting. We usually start planting the 25th of May, and it was June the 10th before we got started planting. We had to plant all 80 acres June 10th, 11th, and 12th, and then it was cool then. Our germination wasn't the best, but we wound up with a satisfactory stand. But then it rained so much during the season that we had problems with pollination. I feel like that's the reason our yield's off so much. And we've had to spray. We always spray every week, and we've done that all through the year, but it seemed like it just wasn't enough. We still had a fair amount of disease, primarily downy mildew and Plectosporium blight, which has been harder on our pumpkin vines than anything, it seemed like. And now we're in harvest, and it's raining, and having to wipe every pumpkin with a towel, it just slowed us down, but it'll be a fair year overall, I believe. Last year it was drought the whole year, and the year before that it rained even more than this year, so we'll be thankful for whatever we get. We do buy our bumblebees to try to help out the pollination, counting on a fair amount of honeybees and wild bees doing their part, but there was a real cold snap the 1st of May, and we feel like it may have done a lot of the wild bees in, and if we'd have known all that now, we would have probably bought more more bumblebees. Bumblebees work hard, but they can't do so much. As far as insecticides go, we hadn't sprayed any insecticide on our crops in years. Had 0 issues this year, and ready to stay that way. I know a lot of folks put insecticides in their spray regularly. We hadn't saw the need to. We're not opposed to it if we saw the need. We just hadn't needed as far as we could tell. After we harvest our pumpkins at the end of the year, we sow wheat back. The reason we use wheat is it usually don't get much over knee high by May when it's time to plant pumpkins again, and it makes for a great cover crop. We usually put 2 bushel to the acre down. Some fields we drill, some fields we disc. The reason we would disc in the field is every other year we try to subsoil our ground to loosen it up, and then the following year we can drill it. We just don't want the field to get too rough. And the subsoiling has helped the roots to be able to expand if there's water needed to get to the roots, but this year it helped the water to just go in the ground so that it wasn't just sitting there saturating the plant.
Hello, I'm J.C. Banks, Snake Creek Farms. Here on our farm, we grow about 200 acres of big pumpkins, which is what would be in the grocery stores, and then we grow about another 50 acres of pies and field trips. Here on our farm, we use the industry standard. We use a Gladiator. We're always testing. We have 3 or 4 test plots going every year for different companies. We've got to see the future. At this time, the Gladiator fits us better than any pumpkin that we've had. This year on our farm, we've had some issues with the spring being cool and damp. Leptosporium has come on our first plantings that we did in May. The plantings we had in June are a whole lot better. We have a really good crop later in the year, but the first 50, 60 acres is going to be a fight to get through. One of the biggest challenges that we've had this year is grass control, weed control. Any land that we have that's in the lower elevations, more flat, we just can't control the grass. We have the herbicides broke down early with all the rain that we had in the spring. Post was applied and didn't hold it, so we just have an issue. And we're going to be some pumpkin loss because of it. On the first plantings, like we said earlier in May, we're looking at probably about a 60 to 70% yield. The plantings we had in June are pretty good. They're going to push up like they should be in 45 to 50 bins to the acre of the 30 count pumpkins. But dirty planting is going to be an issue, and it's part of the challenge from the spring that we had. We had the cool weather, we had germination issues to start with, the wet, and then in June, on the June plantings, they was not pollinating when we had 3 solid weeks of rain that we had in July, which maybe starting later was a blessing. We didn't know it at the time. But here on our farm in our part of the county, and our neighbors are included in this, there's quite a bit of cabbage, there's quite a bit of sweet corn, and greens, and pumpkins growed right here in the Gladesboro section of Carroll County. We're blessed with a very strong population of native bees. One of the reasons is these native bees are here, and this includes my neighbors too, not just our farm, we really protect them. When you spray insecticide on our cabbage, we do it late in the evenings. We use a variety of insecticide that does not have holdover for bee kills. And some of these fields join cabbage patches, joins pumpkins and corn. Really be diligent. We've really been good. And it ain't just our farm, it's our neighbors. We're all doing the same thing, and it's really showing. We don't have to buy bees. We do not rent hives. They don't either. And we have bees natural here, and it's working for us. And we use a far more seed treatment that comes on the pumpkin seeds. For us, it's eliminated a lot of insecticide spraying. We really don't have issues with anything insect-wise in our pumpkins. Sometimes in the late season, we'll have some rind worms, and that's about the only thing we have to treat for. In a lot of seasons, we can go to complete season and never put insecticide on the pumpkin vine. What we do on our farm with the cover crop is we have decided in the last couple of years to stay with rye instead of wheat, because we want the extra cover, we want the extra height that rye will bring versus wheat. This year, our cover crop was very good, very tall. When we killed it down and planted through it, it was there. But as the summer went along with lots and lots of rain, we've had some breakdown in our cover crop, and some of our pumpkins is not as clean as they should be. Okay, in the spring, when the COVID come out and March hit, and everyone, including myself, was worried. One of the big, we grow cabbage, we grow greens, we grow corn. Them items, I felt confident would sell because they were food items. They was not a luxury item, not an ornamental item. It was something to eat. I was scared, I was reluctant. I really held back to the last minute to purchase the seed and decided, hey, we're just gonna go for it and see what happens. And the pumpkin season just started, but the demand seems to be there. So with the COVID going and the people staying at home, people doing home decorations, people doing projects with their families, with their kids, it looks like these pumpkins are going to sell. It's just like, you know, we took the risk and it seems to be working out this time.
My name is Justin Light, here on Light's farm. We grew 10 acres of gladiator pumpkins this year because that's a great large size industry standard carving jack-o'-lantern pumpkin. The weather this year has been very sporadic. We've had everything from torrential downpours to weeks of drought at a time. It's been very challenging, but the main thing has been we've kept up a very strenuous spray schedule on these pumpkins this year to keep them clean, to keep the disease out of them. Some of the hardest things we've had to overcome this year is the amount of rain we've had has brought in some powdery mildew and some downy mildew. So we've had to go to a 5-day spraying schedule on all our cucurbits this time to combat that. We basically do a Bravo Mancozeb rotation. This year, on this year's crop, I feel we have really good overall vine health, and I would relate that to the amount of liquid fertilizer we've put foliar over these things. I'm a firm believer in using Monty's Root and Bloom and Calcium Plus. Every time I spray, I use both of those, and I also have put some 20-20-20 foliar applications on this field, and it's really kept the vines up and healthy and growing and producing. Over the last few years we've been buying bumblebees, but this year I actually got my own honeybee hives, and we've put 2 hives on this 8-acre field right here, and that has been enough to supplement the natural bees that we have, and I feel like that has given us a lot better fruit set than if we solely relied on the natural bees that we have here on this field. And as far as insects go on these pumpkins, I've only made 4 or 5 insecticide applications on this field from the time of planting till now, and the only big problems we've had have been pickleworm, and I started preventatively spraying for those when I started getting them in my zucchini. And I've used Exarel, and other than that, we really haven't had very many insect problems on this field. One of the biggest challenges that we've faced is the marketing of these pumpkins, because the guy I sell a lot of the pumpkins to, 90% of his business is the West Virginia Pumpkin Festival, which was canceled this year due to COVID-19. And that's been a really big struggle finding other places to go with these pumpkins.